All right. Well, guess what? A lot of you may have seen the video on my main channel recently where I did unveil and investigate the new maps. We did get confirmation the day after that those new maps are in fact going to be joining the ladder pool, and the World Championship will be played on it soon. So it's a great time to go back to some Team Liquid map contest tournament games that we didn't get to cast previously that I had highlighted on my list as good matches, or matches that had been recommended to me, one or the other. And so we've got a bunch of them that you guys are going to be seeing over the next few days. Down here at the bottom right side, we've got Gumiho here. It's a group stage best of 3 round robin match. He's dropping Psystorm Gaming. He's up against Onside Gaming Solar, who is an absolute predator. Solar, I love Gumiho, guys, and there is one reason I hate Solar. I often cheer for Solar. I go, oh, it sucks that he's so unlucky all the time and all this sort of stuff. But the fact that he bullies Gumiho as much as he does is what makes me hate Solar. Because I just love Gumiho's creative builds, his mech builds, and every time he comes up with a new build order that seems really solid versus Zerg, Solar shows how to dismantle it completely and force Gumiho back to doing crazy, unpredictable things. So the real dynamic in this matchup is Gumiho's always trying to surprise Solar. He almost always takes a map off him, or even 2 maps if it's a best of 5, but very rarely wins the series. Now, I think he beat Solar in GSL, so I think he did get one important win on a big stage, which was really cool. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but, you know, then Solar beats him in the previous season in GSL and 6 online tournaments before Gumiho gets another win. So I'm always cheering for Gumiho in the matchup. I always feel like the games are fun and close, but it's just the fact that Solar refuses to die and also has some brutal timing attacks. If Gumiho's too greedy, bam, queens will walk across the map. There'll be a big roach queen knight, it's that sort of thing. It'll be good. Okay, so Solar is saying, I want to veto this map in the future. Thank you, Crank, for translating that. And they're both saying GG to each other now, I think. I think that's what it is. Okay, Solar's like, there's so many bases. Wait, many bases means it's a Terran map. Okay, so Solar's saying that because there's so many bases, it's a Terran map. This one's Gresfin, by the way, and is confirmed to be in the new map pool. ESL did confirm that the day after I made that video. I think it was like 4 hours after I made that video, actually. Maybe 1 hour after I published it. So people are like, wow, great detective work, Pig. You literally just announced news. I'm like, I recorded this like 6 hours ago. It took a while to edit, okay? Nice Reaper harass so far. So it looks like, okay, he's going to jump. There's a ledge there. Looks like there's a full ledge there. And there's a little jumping point there and there, but you can get blocked in these little points. So this ledge is a bit of an interesting ledge because it goes straight into the back of the third base. That's a bit of a different design. I feel like this map's bases are less than Waterfall. It should be the same as Tropical. Effing far rush distance. Or effing far away, maybe, is what they're saying. The bases are very spread. Interesting. So Gumiho here, he's got the Hellions building, starports on the way as well. Reaper's going to go around. The Queen went way off creep there. Bit of a mistake from Solar. Should have made only 4 lings, says Solar. Guys! Solar finally admitted it! Oh my god, I've been talking about the 4 versus 6 ling debate for so long. Solar's finally admitted that at least on long rush distance maps, you only need 4, not 6. I've told you guys the many stories of me harassing him on Discord and saying, hey Solar, I noticed on this long rush distance map, Glittering Ashes, you built 6 lings, you only need 4 for that map. And he's like, no, you lose Zerglings. And he's always disagreed with me and disregarded my opinion. But he's finally doing it. He's finally said, well, if the map is long enough, then yes, I should do it that way. Oh, he's in trouble though. Too much banter. Too much banter. Too much banter. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. 6. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh my lord, that's good damage. But the lings, even though they're slow lings, they do surround the Hellions. And a few more lings go down, but the Queen's cleaned it up. 5 drones. Was that worth it? I mean, it's very early 5 drones, but losing 4 Hellions loses you a fair bit of map control, so I'm not really sure if that was super duper worth it. He keeps the Reaper alive at least, and that Reaper's still working this high ground, low ground dynamic, being very annoying. That's going to allow 2 more Hellions to run on in, but I think that's a bit dangerous. The Reaper is still alive! Gumiho is being so annoying. He is the true master of chaos in these early games lately. But despite that, that's a late 3rd CC. So he's kept the game small. This is what Gumiho is doing. And it's kind of his masterclass in ZVT is he likes to keep it small because he's very good at small technical interactions. The bigger the game gets, though, Solar will take over with experience because he's so good at those big late games and just clawing his way through them no matter what happens. Now, of course, I think it was Gumiho. Solar said you should have made only 4 lings. Gumiho said 6 lings should always be made, and Solar said that can't be true. Terran map confirmed. So, obviously a bit of banter between the players as they take a look around the maps even as they play it. Very rare to see the pro players properly practice these maps before these tournaments, since these maps, they're Team Liquid map contest maps where there's actually a lot of maps that are played. The players don't even know that these maps will end up in the ladder pool. And only some of the maps in each of these series I'll be casting over the next few days will actually be ones that made it into the map pool. But we'll also be looking at some maps which maybe should have made it into the map pool, because I know there's a lot of really good options out there. Uh-oh. Okay, Banshees? Oh, I mean, there's no lair just yet. It's still 10 seconds away. So without a Spore Crawler out here, it does make things awkward. A good piece of advice I always give for Zerg players is if you know there's a Banshee or something like that, and you don't have a quick lair, always just build a Spore Crawler between your third and your natural, just to make things easy. For Solar, he obviously is good at just keeping his drones back from rallying through the middle and kind of waiting until the Overseer's there, but for lower level players, I see them take crazy damage to Banshees, so a good tip is to get that one out there. 1-1 upgrade starting up on 6 minutes and a 4th base in the north. Now, Solar's done... Oh, this is a classic mistake on a new map, guys. He's got amazing creep spread on the bottom, but he's not expanding to the bottom. He's expanding to the top, and his creep spread's not that good up there. This is a thing that happens a lot on new maps where the Zerg's kind of figuring out their expansion pattern as they go. And they're kind of like, oh, wait, I really need creep out here, and I need to break these rocks. But it's like, hey, dude, you've got 30 lings. Break those rocks. This is clearly, if you're taking this base, controlling this area here and here is the most important thing. But Solar hasn't studied the map. He hasn't put that together. And as a result, Gumiho's going to start pressuring him non-stop, and that means he's missed his window to tear those rocks down for free. It's going to be very hard for him to tear those down, which means if Gumiho were to do siege tank pressure, he could have set that up behind those rocks and been very annoying. Now, luckily for him, it's for Solar, it's Widow Mines, not Banshees. And, oh, he's got enough space to pick up all the aliens and the Marines. Well done. Banshees are in the top side. There are Queens just about everywhere. Gumiho, get out! Oh, no! Gumiho's going to lose one. And there we go. He's just going to hold position that Banshee there. Not sure if that was an F2 or not. A couple of Marines and Hellbats coming forward. 1-1 upgrades are finishing up. Solar looks like he's mostly out of the woods because Baneling speed's almost done. 1-1's almost done. He's on 71 workers. This feels like a game where it should spiral out of control for Solar. Just knowing the history between these two, like Gumiho needs to start a 4th command center and a 2nd factory really soon. He's ahead on the upgrades by about, what, 30 seconds maybe? 20, yeah, about 40, 45 seconds on the upgrades. And of course, if Solar doesn't start his 2-2 straight away, that could become a full minute upgrade advantage. But only 5 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. It's not that much going on just yet. Oh, I like this Widow Mine, guys. That's hard to see. Because look, if Solar's screen is centered like this, he won't even be able to see the Widow Mine. Oh, this could be big. He might not have noticed it. Yeah, but it was a big one. Oh, Gumiho is such a dirty genius. It's those details. I told you guys, it's those details in these small scale fights where Gumiho is a god. And he was like, hey, wait a second. There's a good chance if Solar comes down with his screen like this, the angle is completely blocking the marker of that Widow Mine. That is a dirty trick. But it's dirty tricks that Gumiho has made an entire career off. The only player to compete at top level in GSL for several years as a random player. He wasn't really a championship winner at that point, but he ended up swapping to Terran. He ended up being a good player, but not a top tier player, and he actually relearned his entire mechanical system in 2016, 2017, redid his mechanics because he realized he couldn't keep up with the better pro players. And that was when he won a GSL championship. It was 2017, I believe it was, right after doing all that. Maybe it was 2018. I remember I've been criticized for telling this story and I was like off by a year or something. Maybe it was 2019. I don't know. I don't think it was that way. I think it was back when Rogue basically was the one person that could beat him. And he was using BCs before the BCs got buffed, so it must have been 2017. Ooh, Widow Mine set up. Widow Mines are really good for like potentially blowing up Banelings running past, but you'll see the Zerglings are too fast, so it's not quite able to finish shooting there. Idiot drones to 72 in Solar's favor. You have a 4th base. You now do have a 2nd factory, but still no 8 barracks count for Gumiho. And this has been a bit more popular recently. I know Clem likes to do this, where it's just like, no, I'm not going to power up my barracks. I'm just going to make sure I keep trading, but... Oh, okay. Barely gets those medevacs out of there. I thought he was going to let those go down for a second. The trading's been very good for Gumiho, but remember that as he's trying to spread the fighting out, he's not always going to be as quick at reacting. And little things like those Zergling backstabs will really tax him. And oh, he scans, but he misses that tumor. This is Tumor Island right here for any big Les fans, guys. Watch out, those Marines, if they hang out there, If you go into this little forest, you're going to go on a little bit of a trip. Let's just, bit of a spirit vision down there, you know? Marines in the top side hanging on out. We've got, is this a Widowmine drop? Yeah, Widowmine drop's a good idea. Just anything to keep some pressure going. Finally getting up to 8 barracks is Gumiho right now. Solar, his tech is not the fastest. I've been talking a lot about what Gumiho's doing. Solar plays a very standard ZVT. Gets him in trouble when he plays Maru. Maru's very good at abusing him because Solar gets way too predictable, but Gumiho's incredibly unpredictable. The problem is, of course, that Solar's just so experienced in these games. Those units lost still looking good. This slows the attack down. Oh my god, that's so much Banes. Oh god. Oh, Gumiho, get out, get out, get out. He's got to click the hatch and get out. Click the hatchery. He's got to fly those medevacs over his bio right now. Good Widowmine hit. Oh, he's got to pick up. Oh no, he left it too late. He just lost his whole army, didn't get the hatchery. Big mistake for Gumiho there, guys. I always talk about this. People always say, how do you pick up so fast? And what I notice in players is once you're like Diamond 2, Diamond 1, you're actually able to do pickups almost as well as pro gamers in terms of speed. The difference is the decision making. And I really feel like Gumiho there should have known, hey, there's going to be a big army coming. Fly the medevacs over the bio. The moment I see the banelings coming, pick everything in the medevacs boost away. But he wasn't prepared for that. It felt like in his mind, he thought, maybe I'll be able to win this fight. And it was that kind of thinking he could do that really screwed him. Oh, 5 Widowmines caught out on their own with no support, which means they don't really get very effective shots. And that means he's very light on the Widowmines on the D. He needs to spread these out right now. A giant Hydraling Bane army potentially coming in. He does focus down the Changelings. You know you can just right-click on those, Gumiho. I don't think... Oh, I think Gumiho's still A-clicking that. For those who don't know, you can right-click Changelings. You do not need to A-click them, guys. Oh, no, this is too much Banes, too many Banes. Yeah, Gumiho's screwed. Solar's got him. As I said, Solar was a little bit ahead of the curve in the early game. There wasn't really enough damage done with those Hellion run-bys, even though the Reaper Harass was very annoying. And Solar's simply able to lean on him with superior numbers. Just leaning big, superior economy. And it doesn't look like a very exciting way to finish. It looks unfair, but it all comes back to what I was talking about earlier when I'm like, oh, Solar already has a big worker advantage, all the tech, all the upgrades, not far behind the Terran, getting 5 bases, getting too much creep spread. And when they get that advantage, they are able to just roll over the top with those numbers. Really well played by Solar. All right, guys. Continuing the Team Liquid map contest series, we've got Gumiho in the bottom left side of Errorholm. Unfortunately, this map did not make it into the pool. Onside Gaming Solar in the top right. Now let's take a little look-see around, move down to the natural. That last map, I felt like it was not the longest rush distance, but it still had a lot of room on it. I think in general, what I'm noticing on the newer maps and the ones that came out is there is a decent space from the natural to the 3rd base on the maps and the 4th base. So you do get more spread out, but straight up killing pushes definitely seem a little bit harder to kill the opponent. Solar says, honestly, the one we just played was a Zerg map for sure, but this map, this is a Terran map. So Solar, I think, okay, after that last game, he says, yeah, actually that map was pretty big, good wide open spaces. It was pretty good for Zerg, actually. Solar says this is too close. So he thinks this is too close. He thinks this is going to be a little bit small, bit cramped. It is. Yeah, it's smallish. I don't think it's too bad. Now, what's interesting is overall, in the maps that got picked, a lot of players have pointed out that it seems a bit bigger in general. Bigger, generally a little bit better for the Zerg, a bit worse for the Terran in that matchup. Also, though, bigger, a bit better for Protoss versus Terran. Now, Protoss versus Zerg is the one where it gets a little bit dicey because normally we think of space as being better for the Protoss player, like, you know, more room to defend and prepare your unit counters and get to the bigger, better army. But there are Zerg players who are so good in late game that, you know, it kind of... The Protoss player is actually the one who's more aggressive and prefers to play the smaller maps, right? Like Max has been playing a lot of Glaive Adepts. He prefers smaller maps at the moment. So it's very, very opinion-based. Gumiho says, I feel like this map looks good for Zerg to fight on. So he's saying, well, actually, there's pretty big wide open areas in a few places. And he didn't SCV scout, guys. He's going to be in trouble. These 6 slings are going to catch him. Sol says, okay, I will try to fight infinitely then. Oh, SCV pulling out. He's going to immediately build a second Marine instead of a reactor. That Marine microing its little heart out. And the SCV's pulled forward. Already losing 1 SCV. You don't really want to lose more than 2. Okay, loses 2 SCVs and denied mining time. It's not the end of the world, but definitely a nice little start there for Solar. Slowing down the command center, getting 2 SCVs. Reaper can get that drone. Very nice. That's going to delay the 3rd base, but it's not like Solar really has the money for it anyway. I like how a drone just tried to run straight past the Reaper while The other one got very low. Ooh, good extractor trick and a good spore trick. Yeah, Reaper did some good damage. Goes home to just keep macroing. Does Gumiho. Now, Gumiho is doing a very bizarre build, guys, because he's going Starport before third command center. Gumiho, what is this build? But he's only on 1 gas, which means is he going to build his third on location? The only way for this build to make sense is if he sends an SCV out and starts his third on location. So he's just going to build it in the main, but it's so much later than it should have been. Gumiho, what is this build order that you're doing? Don't tell me this is a Widow Mine drop or something silly. Something very, very weird. Okay, Reaper's going to go around the top side. Now, of course, this is the Team Liquid map contest tournament. This was played a few months ago, guys. For those who are wondering, is it on the new patch? Absolutely not. And this is actually not one of the maps that made it in. But we're going to be casting a few different series, like I said, over the next few days. So there'll be ones that none of them will be on the balance patch, but they'll all be on a mixture of the maps. Some of those maps will be on ladder, some will not. 8lings on the way, Medevac, and 2 Hellions. So it looks like, are we going to... This is still 1 gas. What is this build order from Gumiho, guys? Like, what even is this build order? I'm so curious. Now, obviously, he's able to keep up lots of Hellion production and lots of SCVs by staying on 1 gas, and he's building extra Marines. But there's no armory. It's not a Hellbat timing. There we go. He starts a 2nd gas now. What is this? This is a very fascinating build order from Gumiho. See what he can do with this. Zergling Scouts coming in. These Hellions should be able to clear that bad boy up. Oh, okay. 1 Hellion takes 3 shots, though. And that Zergling's going to come in and see extra barracks go down. Doesn't see the 3rd command center, so that might make Solar freak out a little bit. Think it's a 2-base all-in. 4 Hellion drop coming into the main. And oh, Solar's being lazy on his scouting, his Overlord positioning. He's got Overlords just sitting in his natural, not giving proper vision around his base, and not prepared for this new map. Oh, that is a big mistake for him. These Hellions getting 7 drones. They can get 1 more volley. Yeah, 8 drones. Saves all 4 Hellions. Beautiful, beautiful start here for Gumiho and Solar. A bit slow to pull those drones away as well. He's going to lose another 2 drones. Once again, all 4 drones get out. This is free damage. Doesn't even throw the units away. Maintains the pressure. Behind it, 3 barracks up. Double engineering bay. Getting reactors on the factory and starport. He's going to start the biomine parade after this one. And the question for Solar is, where does he take the 4th? I think it's a no-brainer. It's got to be this base here. Just break those rocks down. That, of course, is impassable terrain, for those who don't know, this whole area. But looking at this map, I'm really amazed that Solar's not clearing the rocks up. He also hasn't put an Overlord up here on the top right or the bottom left. Solar is I mean, this is basic stuff. You don't need to know the map to know you need an Overlord here and you need an Overlord here. You always want an uninterrupted ring of vision, but you often see pro players a bit distracted on these new maps as they're kind of looking around and going, oh god, where do I need to worry about? Where should I focus my creep spread? And just all those things that they're so used to being automatic slow down a little bit. And you see that automatic speed of pro players where they just do things so quickly, slowing down a little. 1-1 upgrade start up. 35 seconds behind the Terran upgrades. 3rd command center is down. It is a 15 worker advantage for the Zerg, which you might think sounds good, but it's not. The reason it's not good, guys, is the gas isn't up yet, and he's only just started his 4th hatchery. If he had a 4th hatchery finished, I'd say amazing position for Solar. Defends this next attack, drones his 4th, he's in a good spot, but he doesn't actually have that much lava or production. He did take a lot of damage, remember, 10 drones, and all of the Hellions survived. Oh no, the Baneling morph gets caught! Oh god, he's losing the Banelings. Oh no, the Queens are coming in. They're going to get rid of that Medevac in a moment. There we go, it does go down, but with no Banelings, he just needs a few Banelings to deal with this Ling Hellion. Oh, the Marine Hellion, sorry. Queens coming forward, a few Banes come in, but without anything to shield them, they'll just get gunned down, man. The Queens, oh man, they are very tanky, but an amazing trade for Gumiho nonetheless. Gets another Queen down. And even those last 4 Marines saved. The Medevacs get out, the units lost tab. Tells a story of a very good start for Gumiho, who's just parading through the middle. And this is a short rush distance. We pointed out it's got this nice path and blockers and choke points through the middle of the map. So it's reminding me a little bit of Romanticide and that the biomine parade through the middle. If it gets position here, it can just start branching off in every direction, and your 4th base, your 5th base getting threatened at the same time as your rally point does. Very scary for the Zerg player. Solar does squeeze in a handful more drones, but I think he needs to to be backstabbing. I don't think you can afford to defend front on because he feels so much pressure from this presence on his doorstep. He doesn't feel that he can spread units across the map, and that's a big problem for him. Ooh, Marines coming forward, Widow Mines as well. Banelings coming forward as well as the Zerglings. Marines pick up. He's going to just keep on trying to bait him into the Widow Mines, pulling back, doing all the fancy stuff. Zergling tried to take one for the team, wasn't quite able to. Shout out to the map maker of this map, Volumen, by the way, whose name I'm probably butchering. Ooh, Widow Mine not quite able to get the big juicy that he wants, but Gumiho is still going to make it very scary to chase that back. Lots of awesome maps that made it into the Team Liquid map contest. So we're going back and looking at some of these series and seeing that this one, I think the Terran players are going to be really sad this map didn't make it in, honestly. Because I think this map, I don't think it's unfair, but I think it's similar. Ooh, Baneling's getting some good hits. Okay, we'll do more analysis of the map later. For now, let's talk about Solar trying to survive. He's only up 6 workers. He's hanging on by a bare thread. He needs a few more queens, but remember, he lost so many earlier. And 3 of them are injecting. 4 are up front. The Banelings cannot fight down this choke point. And the problem is, this looks unfair, and it is. The reason it's unfair is Solar is dealing with exactly what Maru's done to him. Solar plays so standard and so front on. He's kind of, you know, I feel like he wants to be the Korean Serral, all about just winning front-on defensive trades in this matchup. And that's not a bad way to play, but it is if your opponent takes advantage. And Gumiho has had 0 chill. He has rallied straight across the map the entire game. He's had no defense on any of his worker lines. A backstab would have ruined him at any point in this game. But these sort of fights are always losing trades for the Zerg. Look at the units lost up. Guys, if a few Lings or Banes went in, dead middle line. If a bunch of Lings ran in, they catch these units in disarray, and you force the Terran's attention elsewhere. But Gumiho, we might say he's not a mechanical god like Clem. He's still pretty darn good. And if you let him just stare at a fight on the front, and he doesn't have to look anywhere else for the rest of the game, he just macros off his control groups. He is going to out-micro you because his units are long-ranged, fast, microable units, and you don't have a lot of anti-air. So this is a huge issue for Solar. He's getting Hydras to deal with the Widow Mines. I think it was way more important to send a Zergling counterattack across the map. You can see now more barracks, command centers building behind this, and Gumiho's just baiting him into Widow Mine, Bio Mine spreads. The Hydras finally clean up some of these Widow Mines, which is it's okay, but Banelings are one-shot units, man. Just one pump and they're done, you know. Much like nature out in the wilderness, you're often surprised as a human. We try and put our expectations out on them and we say, oh, you know, surely it'll be romantic, be a nice... No. Banelings, they do not last long. It is a more savage race, Zerg, than Terran or Protoss. There's no plugging your big Protoss dreadlocks into each other and connecting your spirit soul and merging, you know, becoming an Archon together or something like... No, it's just a big explosion of acid and your face melts off. It's brutal, but effective. And the thing is, in this case, when you've got less money than them, not so effective. And that is why Gumiho is now building a 5th command center. He's got 3-3 started versus an infestation that's not even finished, which means Hive Tech, 3-3 upgrades, adrenal glands, lurkers, all those things are gated far behind. Got a drop on the south. He's splitting Solar's attention. Solar's managed to keep 4 bases up and mining. I mean, this is Solar's ability to just not die. I really thought he was going to die. It's impressive that he is still alive in this game. Sloppy rallying through the middle of the map, but because Gumiho's got backstabs in every different direction, this could still be kind of nasty. Oh, here we go. Drop in the top. That is more medevacs than there is bio units, guys. Not every day you see 8 medevacs escorting 8 Marines and a Marauder. Kind of hilarious to see that one. The drop on the bottom is still not really doing anything. He's controlling the tower. There's a few Banelings there. Gumiho's starting to just rally through the middle. He's got Concussive. More command centers on the way. I feel like maybe Gumiho has let... Oh, Banelings roll into those Marines on the tower. But once again, 4 or 5 Banelings go down for 8 Marines. Is that a positive trade? Not really. Solar needs just a little bit of room to breathe. He's up to 87 workers right now. He's got a Hive and a Lurker Den. Oh, Gumiho's giving him too much time. I'd like to see Gumiho Doom drop the main and then push the far bottom, far top at the same time. I mean... He could then regroup after that to hit the middle. There's no creep here still, and it's not even being respread, which is a massive oversight for Solar, who I almost called Dark for a second because it's much more like Dark to not be respreading creep. Solar is usually very good on it, and he is on the flanks, but he's ignoring it in the middle. Hydra Bane's going to chase back Gumiho in the bottom, but Gumiho's going to kite down a lot of those Banes. He's going to pull on back. Doom drop in the main. Oh, bam! Oh, big boom booms! Oh, no. Gumiho was... Okay, he microed very well on the bottom and cleaned up everything, but he lost a lot of bio on the top side. Command center getting denied on the bottom as well. Gumiho... Oh, man. Solar's just abusing the multitasking here, coming in on multiple sides, and really, Gumiho is having an issue These medevacs need to get back. He's got too many medevacs. Oh no! He's at 12 medevacs. He's about to be at 14 medevacs. That's far too many. Uh-oh, Gumiho's on autopilot. Guys, for those who don't know, this is a rare phenomenon. Unlike the Laser Overlord, this is the Euthermal medevac. And you guys go ask Euthermal, go ask the YouTube man. He'll have a wry smile. You'll see the pain of many tournament game losses in his eyes. You'll see it flash in his eyes as he remembers the many times he's accidentally built 16 to 20 medevacs and then wondered why his army was so small and realized by looking at the replay. Because you're just on autopilot. You think, oh, need more medevacs, but they're not dying in this game. And he's going 16 medevacs right now. I mean, the Marauders are going to each have their own personal medevac. They're going to be very hard for Solar to kill, especially with 3-3 versus 2-2. But if this game goes much longer, that's going to be a problem. Solar's still way down in supply, though. Oh, man. Oh, man. Solar, get out. You can't take this fight. Clearly, you do not have the units you need. You need lurkers to deal with this. He's trying to roll Banelings through. He's got so many Banes. There's so many Marauders up front. The Marines doing a lovely spready in the back line as well. And that there was a disaster of an engagement. Solar needed to wait for lurkers. Remember, you're playing Gumiho. And Gumiho always wants to fight right here and then. I really want to point out that in the lead up to that fight, if Solar was a little bit earlier to give up ground, I think he might have been able to do this. If he was like, look, this army's too big. You're out upgrading me. Wait for Adrenal, but more importantly, wait for lurkers. If he could start morphing some lurkers, I know it sucks to give up this base and go back to 4 bases for now, but I feel like he just cannot fight right now with a double upgrade advantage, 15 Marauders up front. I mean, this army was just not ready for it. And even bringing the rest of the army south, Banelings are so cost inefficient against that. Remember, even with +2, the Banelings are doing 20 damage a shot versus the 105 hit point Marauders after they stim, which means you're doing at least 6 Banelings per Marauder. You add medevac healing, spreadies, and all the rest, the concussive shells. And this is just a point in the game where the Terran army with that much meat up front becomes very hard for Banelings to clear up. Alright guys, now we got another map here from the TLMC. This one actually did not make it in the pool, and I think looking at the size of it, it looks like it's a very long map, but with very spread out bases, so I'm kind of sad. I would have liked to see this one. Gumiho's down here in the bottom left representing Psystorm. In the top right, we've got Solar repping on side. Now, like I said, the natural's there, but then your third is pretty far out, and then your fourth is even further out. And if you want the 10 mineral one, it's blocked by the rocks. So this is actually kind of cool. You guys know I cast some series already on this map. This one as well, blocked on the rocks. So you get 4 bases normally, and then the other ones you need to take the rocks out. Soul says, this map beats Submarine for sure. What? Submarine? Why are you comparing this map to Submarine? Submarine was a rush map. This is definitely not a rush map. Look how long it takes to get across this map, man. There's ridges everywhere and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, the extra 2 mineral patches per base, I'm not sure how much impact that makes. I haven't really seen a late game on this map. Hopefully we get to see it in this one and see who it favors more. Gas? I don't know. I feel like in Zerg vs. Terran, minerals is pretty much always the most important resource, though gas does become quite important for both sides in the late game. Good to see Crank translating some of these players and what they've been saying. Solar says the map's layout is actually terrible for Zerg. I think obviously just talking about how spread the bases are and how exposed they start to be to pushes and drops and all sorts of things. Solar says, is this real that all 5th bases have rocks? Gumiho says, I like it. I can't expand 5th, says Solar. I mean, just send some lings over. It's not the end of the world, Solar. You can figure it out. Don't get me wrong. It does make things tricky. I think you can figure it out. You'll be able to do it, Solar. I've seen Solar survive on 4 base for 20 minutes and then still beat Terrans that have like 5-6 bases before. I think he'll be able to do it. I think if all your 4th base options were blocked by rocks, it would be a bit of a bigger issue. Standard Reaper opening, no SCV scout for Gumiho. Solar here just going 2 queens, droning up. He's also pulled 2 workers off gas, so you're going to see him move out, take that 3rd base with this 21st drone. Behind it, 4 lings, a queen, an overlord. This is a very standard build order at the moment. The old Clash 3rd base. And the Reaper's not even going to try to block that. So the 3rd hatch will go down while this defense is happening up here in the natural. Immediately pulls the drone. Oh, he just stands and fights. Oh, he surrounds himself though. Gumiho. That was a real silly move. Gumiho dropping the question mark. Way too cocky just sitting there. Maybe he clicked it away and thought it had moved. Not really sure, but sticking the tongue out there is Solar saying, no, you lost your Reaper. That's a pretty bad start. But going 3 command center, So he's going to have a good economy to make up for it in the later stages. Just means the creep is going to spread freely on a big map. That really sucks. That's very bad for the Terran to let the Zerg get a head start on the creep. If I was Solar, I would not miss a beat on this creep. The moment that's cooled down, bam, spread the tumor. Bam, drop more tumors. And look at that. He does it instantly. Yeah, this is very clean play for Solar. Question is, which side of the map does Solar go to once he takes his 5th base? He's got to go here and here, I think, and then just try to control this side of the map. There's rocks everywhere, like that actually really annoy the Zerg, but I really don't think you like these rocks. As a Zerg, you want this to all be open. There's rocks everywhere, so many rocks, my god. Dustin Browder would have a completely unironic stiffy if he looked at this map. He would be just absolutely excited. He'd be like, oh, you guys are using my mechanics. 12 years, 13 years later now, actually, we're in 2023 now. People are still using the old rock mechanic that he was so excited about back in the day. Viking and Hellion, so pretty greedy opening for Gumiho. He's just going to basically deny scouting. Could become a mech build, but I wouldn't count on it. It's a pretty long map. Wouldn't be bad for mech, especially since the Zerg's going to struggle to take those new bases. And this map's going to be so hard for Bio to push across, though tanks behind some of these ridges could be really effective. I feel like if the Zerg is always backstabbing and flanking, they'll beat you, though. I don't know why, guys. This rock kind of looks like a wombat to me that's curled up in a ball. There's something about the textures on that rock. It kind of looks like one of the spirit bears in Elden Ring, you know? You're just like, oh, that's a funny colored rock, and then it starts mauling you. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Viking comes forward, is going to start picking off the Overlords. Now, it's already killed... one Overlord already died to the Marines, I guess, in the base. And this one not quite able to get the transfuse baited out there. 2 drones just went down. Oh! Hellion dive! My god! Just a 3 Hellion dive gets 6 drones. Solar! Sloppy, mate. Sloppy. Definitely getting used to defending on a new map does take a bit of time. That Overlord is almost certainly going to go down as well. It's good value so far for Gumiho. This really makes up for the Reaper and then some. And the creep is not spreading as constantly now that the pressure is being put on his side. Gonna go Bio! Okay, I really feel like Solar has bullied Gumiho's mech so much that he no longer has faith in it. He's like, I'm just never gonna play mech again versus you because you killed it too many times. It's like, unless I can surprise you with a double battlecruiser opening and like really get some momentum, I just don't have faith in it. I would go out on a limb and summarize that as Gumiho's viewpoint when facing Solar right now. Cliff does block vision, but as he comes around, he sees those queens. Liberator comes in the back. Oh, Viking into Lib. So this is a very sneaky Lib. Gets a bit of mining time. Looks like he used his scan at the front, gets rid of some creep tumors. Liberator should just go home and repair. And the Hellions are going to dive in. There's some Banes here, though, so he can't commit into that. The Queens will push him back. Viking gets an Overlord and goes down. It killed the Overlord on its last shot, and that's a total of 3 Overlords. Not to mention Solar's map vision pushback, so I think well worth it. A random single Baneling is going in. Looks like Solar wanted to do a double Baneling walk into the 3rd. A single Baneling does not have lethality, so this one looks like it was just misclicked, perhaps? I don't know what's going on with this Baneling. He's hiding behind the ridge. Can't really see him. Gumiho doesn't spot him there. Carapace is on the way. Solar not starting melee yet. He starts his 4th base, but once again, a very late 4th base. Despite the late 4th, he's still exploded, of course, in that first game. Got a big enough economy, ended up in a decent spot. Hellions starting to pick away at these creep tumors. Very important to keep that creep under control, but on a map like this, I've got to say, man, if there was ever a map made for a Raven with this sort of build that Gumiho's doing, I feel like this is it. Just look how much creep there is and how much room there is to cover. The Queens can't be everywhere at once. Hellion does go down. We've got more Hellions on the right side. Broom Broom. Here comes the Broom Broom. Solar a little slow to respond. Ooh, remember, on such a big map, sometimes you don't notice the enemy units because they're so small on your minimap. So you got to be careful with that big Ling run by going down that right side. There's a Liberator set up on the 3rd. Wait. You know what, guys? If I was Solar, I might think this is actually mech. Because you've seen so many Hellions. This is your first sign that this is a bio play, which is these Hellions coming forward. Ling's coming into the big run by Hellions. We'll get back there. So he's going to kill a few Marines. Gumiho saves 2 Marines very nicely. And those Lings ain't going to kill any SCVs, so perfectly fine trade for Gumiho, sorry. Solar doesn't get much value, but he does pin Gumiho back, and it buys him time. He's got 78 workers. His creep respread during that. There's always an argument that sort of trade, while bad when you look at it directly, buys you enough room to be worth it. You know what it isn't worth it for, though? Forgetting Baneling speed! He's going OV speed and Groove Spines. Guys, he's getting all the little bonus upgrades. He's like, cool, we're at the Hydra stage. Oh, God, look at your army, Solar. There we go. He looks at his Banelings, realizes they don't have speed, finally starts it, but that is a huge mistake. Man, we talk about combat shields and missing that being bad. I think this one's even worse. Marines and Hellbats coming forward. Banelings need to roll on into that. Oh, he's going in, going out. He's trying to bait Gumiho into clumping up. But the Marines have medevacs nearby. The Hellbats will go down. Oh, Gumiho stands his ground. A very brave maneuver. Cost him some Marines, but he guns down the Banelings without having to pick back up, which is surprising. Not something Solar was expecting to contend with. +2 Carapace starting for Solar, but he's still in the middle of this fight. He's got to deal with this right here, right now. These Hydras have no upgrades. Widowmine goes off, takes a Baneling and a Hydra with it. Oh, man, this is a very good start to this. There's still some creep tumors back there that he hasn't dealt with. He's got 8 barracks building on the front. 4th command center is finished. Gumiho needs to take a second to deal with his macro and kind of handle that. Transfer workers out of the main, because obviously he's got 1, 2, and 3 patches that are about to expire. So definitely you should always transfer at about 9 minutes. Drop your main worker count down to about 8. Gumiho not doing that, though. He's got 72 workers, 2 twos on the way. Biomine coming forward on the right side. He gets a queen, another queen. 3 queens down. Solar with a very slow response. Oh, no. Gumiho might just run away with this game now. That is a lot of damage. And, oh, he accidentally leaves a few Marines there. Widowmine not quite able to finish firing. He's going to try and drop in the main. The Spore's not fully covering it. There's a lot of drop area in this main base. Overseers both go down. Ooh. Oh, got to be careful with those Overseers running into those drops. The Spore goes down. The Marines focus down a unit. A few of the Marines do pick up and get out of there. Gumiho loses a few medevacs. He's got a drop going down the far left side as well. He's going to try and work some angles here, see if he can pressure the sides. I actually think this is a very good idea, and he will find that base. Solar just cancels it. He says, there's no way I'm going to defend that base. And remember, he never broke these rocks, so he's forced to take this base in the top left. That is where he has to go. Oh, Marines on the right side. Okay, Widowmine could get a big boomy. Solar with a lovely spready, though. Not allowing the big booms to land on him. And the Marines on the left side going to continue forward. Gumiho's a little light on scans, but clearing all this creep is really opening up the territory for him. Solar's got a decent economy as his hive starts, 77 workers, but he's not got any growth behind it, and his creep is getting pushed into a tight little corner. Pick up, get out. Oh my god, Gumiho's staying very long there. Very dangerous the way he's microing this. But, oh, he's got way more Widow Mines. I don't think Solar can chase this far. Oh, he's going to go for it anyway. Solar is a brave, brave boy. You can see the F2 as Gumiho's army is moving across the map from every side to try to rejoin. He wants to turn this into a big punish on Solar, and he might be able to. He's going to send those units forwards, but Lingbane's on top of him. Gumiho not going to be quick enough with the pickup. Oh! And I miscalled that. He did get it at the last second. The Banelings took a while to get on top. Gave him those valuable seconds, but notice the way Gumiho's army is F2'd. It's a bit disorganized. There is a Liberator on the third, but you need to get the SCVs out before the Banelings hit you. Liberator will eventually clean all those units, but not before the Banelings go boom boom. Oh, the Banelings not going after the SCVs. You got to be careful there. Oh, Gumiho's trapped in a bit of a corner, but nice lower on the depot. 6 SCVs go down. Could have been a much worse situation for him. Another orbital's up, so he's up to 4 orbital command centers, 3 upgrades halfway done. And not just that, but similar to the last game, the Marauder count is growing. He's at 11 Marauders, not as many medevacs this game, but still 6 going on 8 medevacs now. There's still a Liberator somewhere on this map. I guess it's the defensive Liberator from the early game, isn't it? It's the one that he was using to harass. Widowmine count is much lower, though. A lot of those Widowmines died. He's going to try and Doom drop the main. 3 drops, maybe not quite a Doom drop, but definitely a big one. And he's going to keep denying this top left base at the same time. Solar, it feels like, is chasing his own tail around this map. If there was ever a map to play Mutalisks on, I'm looking at this map and thinking, holy crap, this is it. Why are we playing Lingbane Hydra on a map with this much room and space between the bases? Mutalisks would be incredible, right? This is the map. This map is custom made for Burrow, Banelings, and Mutalisks. I'm looking at it. It's just dawning on me now. So no hate on Solar for not realizing that. Obviously, he's very new to Lazarus Wastes. But looking at it, I'm like, if there was ever a map design that's going to make everyone play Mutaling versus Biomine, I mean, this is the sort of map design that would do it. This is a really, really cool map because it's big. It's hard for Terran to actually win or kill the Zerg or overwhelm them. But at the same time, it's spread. It's also spread out to the point where it's so hard for the Zerg to defend their bases and even to expand to a 5th and 6th base. So I actually really like the way this map's laid out. This is fascinating. The more I watch this game, the more I'm fascinated and going, Oh, Shizzlefizz, man. Is this... I don't know who made this map, but are they onto something? And do we want to see more of this? Because if you think about the age of Tasiaverse Life, 2014 ZVT, probably the best age of Zergverse Terran we've ever seen. About 2014, maybe early 2015, before people figured out Raven Mech. It was all Biomine versus Mutiling Bane. We had a lot of maps like Whirlwind, I think, around that time. Definitely a lot of games on like Frost. Big maps. Oh, that medevac barely survives on 2 hit points. Gumiho, go home and repair those. Don't you dare ever load anything into those medevacs ever again, my friend. Massive spready of just random units going down the right side of the map. Gumiho is a bit disorganized right now. It seems like he's trying to just expand, but that means he's got his army in a bit of chaos right now. I'm a little bit worried for him. And he does unload those units, stims his whole army across the map. Be careful stimming your whole army. You've only got 8 medevacs. You don't have 16. Big spready here for Gumiho. Solar's got lurkers up, though. This game is not going to end here. Gumiho's going to have to play a longer game. There's no way he kills this because, look, Solar just runs forward, baits a stim, buys time. And that army's not going to heal up that quickly. Remember, Marauders take 20 damage each stim. They're now double stimmed. They've taken 40 damage. All the Marines have taken 20 damage. The lurkers are up front, and if he tries to run on it, the blinding cloud's there. Solar needs to split his army up more. He should not be sending his whole army to the top left. Solar is definitely in that mode where he's been getting hemorrhaged so much on the base count that he's running his whole army around in a ball, and that's not a good choice. I do like to see him moving forward. Looks like he wants to go bust the third if he can. But Gumiho says, hey, if your lurkers are there, I can still drop around that situation. Not a good Ling run by. Yeah, he should just run away now. The Lings run in, he sees the 4th, he'll find the Orbital, it's a 5th in the bottom right potentially, and he could be very annoying there. This buys you a fair bit of time. Does he have Burrow? No Burrow in this game. A really important upgrade that's missing. And a little slow to go after the SCVs, so doesn't really get any of them, just damaging them. Drop is still up there in the right side. Gumiho's got so much more income. He's taking a 6th base as well. You got to do something as Solar here. As Solar, you got to spread creep down this left side. He's already got this creep here. Keep respreading on the right as well. Notice that's what been an issue, is respreading on areas where it's being cleared. And definitely think about Infestor Broodlord, because right now there is no answer to Infestor Broodlord. I know it's an awkward transition to do, and it's not the most mobile. But a few Infestors, like this sort of moves right now are huge. I mean, maybe a few more Vipers. He's got 3 Vipers, so he should be peppering these with Parasitic Bomb, but it feels like, yeah, like this is the point where you should be crazy efficient as the Zerg, and Solar hasn't really hit that point. Finally, a Parasitic Bomb goes down, but only after the drops inside his main base. He doesn't have energy on these Vipers is the big issue, and that's great trade for Gumiho. Gets the spawning pool, big army on the left side. Ooh. Just getting some tradies, forces the lurkers to the left, picks up and drops out of the main base. Ghost transition's underway, but Gumiho is not a god of ghosts. He's no Maru. Notice there's no mass orbital. There's no mass planetary. Gumiho wants to keep it small to medium scale fights. If he lets Solar both max and get a big bank, his chances of victory go down a lot. Now, Solar can't rebuild Lings right now. He's very slow to realize his spawning pool died. So it's only about halfway rebuilt. Planetary trying to go up on this right side. Oh, abducts. Don't even bother with the Parasitic Bomb. Just abduct into the Hydras. Oh, he gets 3 full medevacs right past. Big mistake for Solar. He was focused on this base, but lifting at the last second. Gumiho saves that base. These medevacs are allowed to unload. He's letting himself get pulled around. Lings get in the bottom right, though. And Gumiho with a massive mistake. He's losing a lot of SCVs now. 9 SCVs goes down. He cleans it up. But I really, oh man, this should not be allowed. Oh, Solar though, in the chaos on this new map, Solar loses 3-4 lurkers out in no man's land. Oh no. He told him to go over the top, run into the halfway point between the trenches, and then start doing jumping jacks. That was not a good order from Solar. And unfortunately for him, his soldiers are about as fiercely loyal as possible. They'll follow any order, no matter how silly it is. That is the way StarCraft works, unfortunately. Snipes coming down, taking out a few of those lurkers as well. The Viper count is still good. He needs to get more energy. He needs to up his lurkerling Bane count, but Gumiho is keeping his army small. Lings try to go down the left side. Liberator Widowmine will clean that up. 2 Lings will get in, though, and at least cause a reaction. And any reaction you cause from Gumiho is a win, because you have more APM. Solar is the faster player. You can see it in the APM, even though that's a bit inflated by pumping out Zerg units. he is faster than Gumiho. If he keeps Ling backstabbing this bottom right, these bases are not defended. He cannot get trapped in a front-on trade, though. He's going to just go for the big bust. Will it work? Parasitic bombs. Lurkers do burrow. Gumiho is just going to try and man mode it with his bio, but parasitic bombs blasting the medevacs. The Lurkers. Hydra's getting surrounded. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Another scan comes in, and Solar, he's getting overrun. Good reposition there. The bio is so fragile, but the Lurkers are getting gunned down. Both sides solo on supply, but that's got to favor the Terran with the 6th base. Even though Solar has a good work account, he doesn't have much bank. He can't afford to lose this base right now. But this fight is terrible for Solar, and it works out okay for Gumiho, especially if he saves a bunch of these units, man. If Solar can transfer workers to that left base, he's actually got decent income. 71 workers to 50, guys. If he can just keep transferring workers, and you can see he's grabbing workers from that base and this top left base. Remember, these are 10 mineral patch bases. These bases have so much minerals on them. Those bases on the flanks have so much more minerals than normal. They will get you a lot more than normal. 71 drones. He's trying to hang on. The Lurkers coming forward, but you see how vulnerable Lurkers are in small numbers. When they're outnumbered by the Terran, they don't have a lot of support. This is where like having a fungal or a blinding cloud can be massive. Most players not used to using fungal in this scenario. They often wonder what I'm talking about, but the power of having just 1 or 2 infestors mixed in with this army, especially when the Terran is just throwing himself upon your defenses the way Gumiho is, it gives you opportunities to get massive fungals, and all you need is 1 good fungal to put the fear in them. It's a psychological weapon. It's not really there to get you infinite fungals. It's literally you land 1 fungal on their army, land some good Lurker splashes, and they're paranoid for the rest of the game. But he's going to just do it with Lurker Ling, trying to push this right side. I mean, if Solar gets on top of a base, it'll be massive, but he's got to be more active with the Ling run by. And the rally is so big for Gumiho, he seems to just be unable to get Lings to that undefended bottom right base. This bottom right base is a travesty that is still mining. Gumiho's even rebuilt a few SCVs. He's got a planetary over there as well. Solar has 2 bases completely undefended on the far left, and Gumiho is F2ing his army. No, he's splitting it. Finally, he's splitting his army, and that's what he needed to do. Imagine if there was a single 8 Marine drop during all this chaos, or a Liberator that went on this left side. I think Solar's back would be broken. But Gumiho, he was focusing really hard on the front. And the art of Terran, it's really focus your whole army, do a big push, but then split up and attack both sides, and then after you've done that for a little bit, regroup and hit the center again. But you've got to keep on using that mobility with a Biomine army. It is not an army that's made to push through the front. Big Widow Mine hits, but big Lurker splashies as well. He's going to get 1 Lurker, 2 Lurkers. Does he go for number 3 and 4? He does. The drones do engage. He's forced to pick up, but man, that was still a good trade for Gumiho, I would say. He even picks up and redrops out of range. If these Widowmines get to fire again, that's big. Needs a new Overseer. It's going to come in along with these units. Looks like he will clean up those Widowmines in time. And this army, unfortunately, retreating. If that army was going back in on the right side or even dropping the main, that would be fantastic. There's still a lot of exposed tech in there. Gumiho's playing a very good game, though. He is keeping pace with Solar. He's got a Liberator. Oh, a Liberator is one of the most unfair units in terms of the amount of APM you use to queue this up to siege a base and what your opponent has to do to deal with it. And that's why it's Gumiho's special sauce. By the way, it's the Liberator from the early game. He hasn't lost a single Liberator in this map. So it is the same Liberator he harassed with. It survived on red hit points. It defended his 3rd from multiple Ling Bane attacks, and now it is harassing. That is some beautiful efficiency, and it's the stuff we never used to see in the earlier years of StarCraft. But in modern StarCraft, Terran players repair things. Twitch chat shouted at them for 10 years. Why don't you just repair that unit? It's so efficient. Pro gamers, streamers said, shut up Twitch chat, you're idiots, you guys don't understand how StarCraft works. YouTube comments, you guys are dumb, stop suggesting stupid things, we don't have the APM to do that. In 2023, it's a standard thing the top pros do, and they say, I can't believe we didn't do this the whole time. What can I say, guys? Hubris is a deadly, deadly beast. Widowmine! Friendly fire! Destroys 4 empty medevacs. It kills a lot of Ling Bane, but it killed a lot of medevacs as well. That's why you'll notice a lot of Terrans manually boosting their medevacs away in the middle of fights, because they want to make sure they're not just hovering over the Lings as those Widowmines go off. He's cloaking ghosts and running in and sniping, though. Gumiho is relentless, man. His economy is not that big. He could still get swarmed here. Dude, imagine a fungal. This is what I'm talking about. Imagine 1 fungal on this army. It would be deadly. Oh, man. I just think the Lurkers were a bit too late. The Lings went down, then the Lurkers engaged, and the Bio pulls back, and Gumiho gets an exceptional trade. He's up 12, 13,000 resources in the units lost. This is a sick game, man. This is a really fantastic game. I feel like we're seeing just how lovely it is when a map has spread out bases. That makes it really good for the Terran, but also really long distance, which makes it hard for the Terran. Such a cool way of designing the map. I think maybe it doesn't work so well for TVP. Maybe that's the reason why we don't see it. But for Zerg vs Terran, I would love to see this map. Definitely let me know if you think this map would be good or bad on the map pool or why. Didn't make it in, for those who missed that earlier. This did not make it into the map pool. Banelings roll forward. Good spready from Gumiho. The medevacs are all gone. He has 0 medevacs. Holy crap. Has Solar. Oh, good. If Solar can send like 50 lings in and surround the rally, that's where he could get efficiency. If Solar could just for one moment get 50 Zerglings on the rally of Bio and then split some lings in the bottom right, it'd be so big. Gumiho needs to transfer workers. There we go. He does so. He's still got mineral patches in his natural, funnily enough. These workers mining out on that side as well. Lings are going to try to run in. He's got to be careful, though. You don't want to waste these lings. He gets a Widow Mine. He's going to kill a Ghost and then get out of there. But, of course, a lot of Zerglings die very quickly. Splits one ling and he sees the Planetary, does Solar. I still think Infestors would be great, but he's so shy on gas. I think it's so hard in such a high-pressure game. You just need more units, and Solar does not have the cash to do that. Gumiho's on 60 workers versus the 60 of Solar. Even workers, when you add those 4 orbitals in the mix, is very good for Terran, not to mention the innate Terran efficiency up against this Lingbane Hydra army. Lingbane Hydra is not a long-term army. It's a short-term army where you have a big economy and you just swarm over them. And you say, I'll kill you within a few waves and keep denying your bases. But if the Terran's on equal or more bases than you, doesn't work out so well. He's now trying to clear the rocks on the right side, realizing, okay, I need that. His 10 mineral bases are starting to mine out. Oh, big boomy lands a giant hit on the Banelings to start the fight. Another one gets a few of the retreating Banelings. Lings do find the rally, though. That's pretty good, but quick reaction from Gumiho. He'll lose a few tech labs, but he won't lose much else. The Lings need to back off. Bio in the bottom right, preparing for another Ling run by as well. Gumiho's kind of adopting a bit more of a defensive stance. I would have been critical of this earlier in the game. At this stage, he knows that he's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm not going to kill that base. I'm just going to keep denying this base and this base. Keep mining. Keep looking for efficient fights. You will lose in the long run. Solar has no answer. He really does not have an answer to this. I mean, he can up the lurker count and look for the perfect fight, but without the burrowed fungal ambush, the Serral maneuver that he's gotten so good at in late game, I don't know if you're going to be able to pull it off. The lurker there looking real nice. The Viper is, of course, looking exposed. Giant push on this base. Solar is unwilling to give it up. Solar's going to move out there and engage those units on the right, get isolated. Blinding Clouds landing on both sides, forcing the army back, but the Viper runs forwards to his death. The Hydras do need to be careful, but wait, no, Gumiho's in awkward position there. That was a great fight for Solar by the looks of it. I really wish he collapsed on the right side and finished those units off, though. I think he could have done that for sure. Solar, with so many Hydras, was actually doing great. He's got 3-3 Hydras. We're so used to seeing Hydras with worse upgrades, but with equal upgrades, they actually do all right. Oh, the cloak and snipe. Dirty, dirty boy. Gumiho comes in there, and he rinses out Solar's mouth with a bit of soap. It does not taste good. He says, lurkers are dirty. We must clean them and purify the Lazarus wastes. I don't know why, but in my mind, Gumiho is an anti-Zerg zealot. He's a little bit of a psychopath, and he's leading the cult of get rid of the dirty bugs. It's the scene at the end of the original Men in Black where Will Smith's stepping on the cockroaches out of the goddamn garbage bin. And Solar's getting angry. He's cracking his neck and he's saying, how friggin' dare you get away from my last mining base? The Ling Hydra Baneling's gonna run forwards. He's gonna try and overwhelm all of it. The Widow Mine's in the back though. Very scary. Big boom booms landing on it. 2 packs of those Zerglings. My god, it's a lot of Lurker Ling Bane or Hydra Ling Bane. It seems like he's breaking through, but remember, this is Solar's one punch. He has to overwhelm the army because this is right on his doorstep. If he can't push this back completely, then he's going to be screwed. And he does overwhelm most of Gumiho's army, but a bit of the army survives. Gumiho's still able to keep this base up. He's going to float a command center all the way over to the left. He needs to break those rocks down. Gumiho, remember, was only mining the bottom right with a few SCVs for a while here. So he's actually still got way more resources than you might expect on that base. Oh no, Solar's Ling's trying to clear the base. Gumiho trying to do the same. Remember, Burrow never got made in this game, so he doesn't really have any sneaky way of getting out of trouble. He's just going to try and do the dance around, but most of those Lings do go down. Widowmine will finish off the remains. Ouch. Barry does get past. He'll maybe kill an SCV or 2, but unlikely he'll get too much done. The Marines do clean him up. Bio running in, single lurker trying to hold ground, but Terran with the map hacks on demand. The scan goes down, the hatchery goes down, the medevacs fly into the Hydras. Gumiho! Oh my god, he's been in a very long, intense game. He did lose a full medevac unnecessarily. What should have been an amazing trade for him. He does offset it a little bit with the misclick. Solar rebuilding this base. Solar's base on the right did survive, so hats off to him for that. But oh my god, he's out of gas. He needs to like transfer workers back onto this gas geyser. He's got very little gas income right now. Solar, I think, only is mining off 1 gas. Oh, and he's so shy on minerals. Ah, oh, Widowmine gets about 8-10 Zerglings there. Command Center is in the open. If the Hydras could kill these, that would be big. It's going to go for the Command Center, not the Orbital, but this gives up this base. Base trade time, Solar. I think it's base trade time. I think Solar, I don't know if he can defend this. I think he might be better off just making the game messy, turn it into a bit of a poop shoot, you know. At this point, just pour the soap on the floor and both of you slide over, make it slippery, make it messy. Jelly wrestling might be your best bet, dude. Oh, big Widowmine landing there for Gumi. Solar is getting good value on his Ling run by, but it's never quite enough Lings to fully overwhelm, is it? And oh, great micro, but just not enough Lings to carry through. Ah, this game is honestly the travesty of a broke Zerg. I think Gumiho at this point is saying, hey, guess what, Solar? I think I have a name for this Mac. It's called Brokeback Zerg. Solar not too happy with that one. He's going to come in. He's got to deal with this army. He needs this base back up and mining. But Gumiho's got too many Marauders up front. The Widowmine's trying to come out. There's just not enough money for Solar. He doesn't have enough units. He can't quite hang on. The hatchery gets killed on the right side, and Gumiho just overwhelming in the long run. Solar unable to contest with these spread out bases far on the map. GG, well played. Really cool map, Lazarus Wastes, guys. I wish we got to see this in the map pool, because I think it strikes a nice balance between length and spread out bases. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure most players would hate having to clear all these rocks. It'd probably be like Golden Wall, where it would give us great games, but players would hate playing on it. I think the big thing in this game is that Solar needed to use the length of the map with a few more backstabs. He tried a lot of backstabs, but I feel like a few more backstabs running down this straight corridor, just like straight through here, and just trying to get either on the production and going down to the bottom right in the mid game might have allowed him to win this one. As you can see, whenever he was backstabbing, he often did force Gumiho backwards. But when Gumiho was the one who was like picking off the bases and stuff, he was doing really well. And this is generally the rule that we used to have when there was lots of spread out bases on maps like Whirlwind and all these sorts of maps. Was basically, it was as you get later game, the attacker is more favored than the defender. And what's really cool is it, outside of any balance changes, gets you away from the Maru, I'll make 10 command centers, Serral, I'm just going to try and make Infested Broodlord and survive to late game style of StarCraft. And even like this style of Hydraling Bane into Lurker simply struggles compared to Mutiling Bane. So I think one of the things that has to be included in our ongoing discussion with balance as well as new maps is my big wish list for the next map pool following this one, which will probably be, I don't know, 6 months away. I imagine in the middle of the year or something like that, maybe 4 months away, is to have more maps like this with spread out bases that basically force there to be less defensive play, but also don't handicap Terran too much. So, you know, if you spread out all the bases and it's a cramped map, Terran's just going to dominate everybody because they can't defend their economy from the Terran mobility. But if you put a long rush distance and spread out bases, it sounds pretty cool. I'm sure I'm missing a few big details. Let me know why. I'm going to stop ranting. Thanks for watching. GG. Well played.